Exactly right. Then a 30-second snippet of a video. You're absolutely right. And that's my point. We're not privy to it. When all of that comes out, we find out in the way that the information was processed or the decision that they made was wrong, then yeah, I demand that they call them out for it.
I don't know.
Didn't the city medical examiner rule Garner's death a homicide?
Yeah.
And found out that the chokehold contributed to it?
Do you know what the definition of homicide is?
It's taking somebody's life.
No, it's the fact that someone died in a confrontation is what homicide means. It doesn't mean that somebody actually. Let me get to. I can get to the. I'm not giving it to you correctly.
Well, from what I understand, he didn't. He didn't suffocate. Okay, he had a heart attack.
Right, because
of the scuffle.
No, because he had asthma.
Yeah, because
of the scuffle, maybe. Yeah.
I was trying to be nice with scuffle instead of using this chokehold because you want to bring up.
And the chokehold was deemed he was wrong for using it. They said they took his gun and his badge for it. So he did pay for that. He didn't break the law. He broke a rule. It's not a law. It's a rule.
You're right on that. So, I still don't change my opinion, but you are absolutely right. It is a ban. It's not a law. It's a ban.
Let's see. I don't know what the legal definition of.
The cops shouldn't even have been over there, man. I'm telling you. Right now.
I agree.
Going back to that bullshit again.
I agree. And it doesn't take 6. And so what if he did he was resisting arrest over selling fucking, and it's not like he was fighting resisting. He was like, hold on a minute, and they just wanted to bark orders, and the cops want you to do what they say.
And that's what you're supposed to do, Rick.
You know what, fuck you, I'm not a dog. I'm
no, you got to stop that now. If you're arguing with a cop, you're wrong. The cop tells you you're under arrest. That's it. You argue later. You can't argue with a cop because you lose every single time. Every single time you lose because you argued with the police.
He certainly lost.
Yeah, he certainly did. He certainly did. Maybe he should have thought about it. Now, I mean, if you want to get down to brass taxes, you got a condition like that. Well, Jesus, I'll deal with this later. Let me go in, get arrested, and I'll deal with it later.
To take down a guy who's resisting arrest for selling cigarettes rather than...
The guy is 300 pounds and 6'4", Rick. Come on.
They could have said, hey, you know what?
Oh, so now, wait a minute. If they pulled their guns on the guy, then it would have been, what are you pulling guns on the guy for selling cigarettes?
Exactly.
What are you kidding me?
That very question.
They did. They took him down, and inadvertently, this man died. And our judicial system says it was legal.
Our judicial system says lots of things.
That was a justified homicide? Is that what they call it?
No, it's not a justified homicide. Nobody said that.
Well, what do they call it then? How can they get away with the homicide? How can you get away with that?
It's the way they get away with it, to go with your way of thinking, is the way it's homicide. I got to find the legal definition of homicide.
You know what I'm saying? How can nobody be brought to task for that? An unarmed person
because it happened during them doing their job. That's why. Now, maybe if it was, a civilian that did it, maybe that could be a justifiable homicide. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
But I
can tell you this. You start questioning the rule of law, and now this country's really go down the fucking tubes. A cop tells you to do something, you do it, and that's all there is to it. Not to the point of where it's got to be, and are there guys out there that do it for the power? Of course there are. But those are the guys you got to weed out. You got to find them. You got to prove it and weed them out. Not blame all cops in the whole country.
I haven't heard anybody blame all cops yet.
Have you been listening to these protesters? Have you not listened to the mayor of New York City? Have you not heard our president weigh in on this situation again?
Listen, the mayor is a fucking idiot.
That's
which we
true.
all know.
Exactly.
All right?
Exactly.
And that mayor... That fucking idiot mayor happens to make these laws that you're saying we should obey when the police tell us to.
If you want to change things, change the law, Rick. And these things won't happen. If you are placed under arrest by cops, you're under arrest. Now, you deal with the courts. Was it a lawful arrest or was it a bullshit arrest? That's where you deal with it, in the courts, not on the street.
I'm saying, when do we start using common sense? I'm thinking.
Well, I agree with you on that one, 100%.
The proper way to go about this would have been said, listen, we've warned you that selling Lucy's here on the street for your whole 35 cents a cigarette is against the law. We've warned you and we've warned you. So now we're going to issue you a ticket and you're going to have to go before a judge to explain why you will not.
We don't know that happened.
You don't attack them, throw them in a fucking chokehold, and then cause all this bullshit over some fucking cigarettes.
We don't know that didn't happen. We don't know that didn't happen. We don't know that. So again, you're jumping to conclusions, like these people are in the streets. You're jumping to conclusions. Let's get all the information in, and then you want to protest, you want to do whatever you want, fine. And you want to protest now, go ahead, knock yourself out. I have no problem
with these protesters in New York.
Me either.
Although I think they're idiots what they're chanting. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
But notice, there's been no looting or burning that I've heard of as of yet. They've been peacefully protesting and chanting. They have every right in the world to do that.
Yes, they do.
No matter how stupid it is.
That's right.
It's not like in Ferguson where they're flinging their poo and burning shit down and all that bullshit.
Well, that's the governor's problem there in Ferguson. Here in New York, up in New York, they told them the minute somebody starts something, we're coming in and you're going to get arrested. They were told. They knew what was coming, and that's what they failed to do in Ferguson. He had the National Guard there. He didn't use them because of what the president said and what he had, the meeting with the president and what they're worried about Eric Holder. Let him do his own investigation. If he finds out shit, he finds out shit. But don't get involved. This is local stuff. It's ridiculous what's happening. Ridiculous, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
I don't know. I just think it's ironic. Remember about a month ago they had that guy over in Pennsylvania that shot a couple of cops and they were out there looking for him. He was hiding out in the woods and all this stuff. They brought him in alive. This guy was armed to the gills, the teeth. And here you have a couple of people unarmed, and the outcome was, as you know, not the same.
Well, yeah, but with one of them, I mean, come on. He may not have been armed, but he definitely packed a punch, apparently.
Who are we talking about now? The kid in Ferguson?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he put himself in the cop car. I mean, he tried to get the cop's gun. I don't know.
I go back and watch and just listen to gunshots, and I get all giddy when I think of that case. Seriously. And I hope that pisses people off because it makes me so mad about these protesters in Ferguson. With all the evidence that's out there, everything that's in, and they still think that it's okay to loot and riot and burn. And then you got that fucking crackhead Sharpton leading the fuck. Yep. Where is he on this New York deal? That's the problem. He's
sitting right next to the vice president of the United States and across the table from the president. That's where he is. They put him right in the middle of this shit.
He's going to be eventually in this New York deal, which I believe is a little bit more fucking crooked than this Ferguson deal. But now you're going to get Sharpton in there and make the whole thing fucking, just a fucking circus.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. You give this man credence. I mean, everything he's put his hands on or into turned out to be bullshit. Starting with Tarana Brawley, what he did to that girl, what he made her do. Well, not made her do, but
that was
forget it.
Bullshit. That was some bullshit.
The man is a race peddler, and that's all he is. They're glorified racists, is all they are. All they want to do is perpetuate this racist bullshit. Now, I don't care what anybody else says. If this country is so racist, how did we end up with a black president?
Kenny, put that fucking cross out.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
This racist bullshit has got to go. It's got to stop. We've come a long fucking way. Just 50 years ago in this country, it was illegal for black people to sit in the back of a bus or in the front of the bus.
Listen,
it was illegal for these people to eat in a white restaurant. So we've come a long way. Don't tell me we haven't come a long way as a people in this country when it comes to race. Yes, we have. And we've got a black president. We've got a black...
Attorney General.
And there are blacks throughout the whole governmental system in big positions. So don't give me this race bullshit. It's made up, and it's, well, let me not say it's completely made up. You know, there are racists in this country, but you know what? The people that are not racists outnumber the racists in this country.
Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, I even know a black dude that's manager at Burger King now.
There you go. See what I mean?
What I'm saying? You can work up the ladder. I don't get this shit. I don't fucking get it.
Mandy's been a little vocal here. John read part of one of her statements, and she goes on to say it's not racist to say that about the brown kid. If it was a spoiled rich white kid, I'd still feel the same way. Honestly, it's the lack of responsibility on both parties, which is true. If he followed orders and complied 100%, he'd be alive. That's a fact. Both of them. She also says we've got to remember some people are ill-educated with how to deal with police. Therefore, I declare a class in high school that way these young people will have learned something useful for their futures. Fuck sex ed. They're all useless in that department, she says. Very good. That's Mandy Pinetown, ladies and gentlemen.
They better not cancel sex ed. I ain't going through all this schooling to get my teaching degree for nothing.
What did Apocalypse say? Common sense class. How to manage guns, how to rotate tires, and how to deal with popo.
That's a good one.
I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a lack of respect. I mean, you know, someone said it today. I've been watching this and listening to all different views, and an ex-commissioner, or was it the police chief? One of them said, you know, it's people that were brought up without fathers in their homes, that have no respect, not even for the families that they have, and that's where it stems from. Maybe not in the New York case, but definitely in the Ferguson case. This kid, you know, I don't know. It's just, all I have to say is I wish they would have just did what the cop told them to do. And then we would have found out if they were really racists, these cops, and what they did was wrong. Now it gets
come
lost
on. Neither one of these cases, not even the Brown case, the kid who got shot right in the fucking head. God, it was so great. Pow! None of these cases were racist. Neither one of them.
There you go.
Nothing to do with race.
But that's what they're all marching about in the streets. It's all a racist thing. And there's no proof of it. None whatsoever.
Money to be made off of it. You got to, listen, if it wasn't a racist thing, there would have been no free alcohol and looting and burning and sharp and making, right, hundreds of thousands and whatever, So there's got to be something, it's whatever. I'm glad I live right square in the center of Detroit.
John Biven, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm right here in the middle of all these happy people.
Yeah, we want to know what. All right, well, stop serving the drinks, John. Stop serving the drinks. Calm your people down over there. And I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about all this? You haven't weighed in yet. That's excellent. I wish I could have said it better.
I don't know what to think.
Oh, you've got to have an opinion.
Well,
I mean, we all have opinions, but
with the guy selling cigarettes, I understand that the businesses were complaining, but how many times do you have to tell the guy to go somewhere else? But I don't know how many times they did, or if they did. I guess they must have.
That's what I'm thinking. They just don't.
And I also understand that sometimes people get crazy when they're getting arrested, and I understand that sometimes my son's a guard at a prison, and even a small guy that's getting out of hand, you're trying to control the situation, and the guy's getting away from you, and And, you know, you call in help, and then the guy goes crazy, and then you have to have several people to